What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit more about Star Wars Outlaws. We got an interesting little quote I want to read from IGN, talking to, obviously, the developers of the game about how long it takes to cross some of the worlds. And, we've talked about the length of this game before. It's something I am kind of interested in, right? Especially when it comes to Ubisoft. You can have those big 100-plus hour games, but, Outlaws has always seemed like, and then they've said, it's going to be a shorter thing, maybe 20, 25, 30 hours, maybe a little bit more to do everything, but definitely not on the same scale as we've seen from like the Odysseys or Valhallas of the world, right? And this planet thing kind of, I would say, adds on to that. So they were specifically talking about how when they built the world, they were kind of building it with traversal with speeder bikes in mind. So they kind of, when they think about how long it takes, they think about it from like a speeder timeline. If you get on your speeder bike and you ride from one end to the next, how long does it take to get there? So let's read the two quotes I got from PlayStation Universe. 4 or 5 minutes non-stop, which doesn't sound like a lot, but once you've committed, it's a fairly large amount, and you're always going to be distracted. When we started thinking about how big we should make them, it was less about how big, but more about how long in terms of traversal with the speeder it would be. So we don't want things to be big for big's sake. We need it to be contained, always fun, always proposing different activities, so the traversal of the whole thing had to feel like a journey, a commitment when you get on your speeder and you want to go from one end to the next. And they were specifically asked about one planet. So there's 5 planets, I believe, in all, and 3 of them are going to be around this length of time. And then the other 2, we don't know whether it'll be longer or shorter. So, again, I think that kind of just puts it into perspective. And I got to be honest, the quotes themselves, pretty good. I've talked often about, really for the last couple months, honestly, every time we hear about the game, they're really saying the right things. This continues to be a game that I'm hearing what I like to hear. I just don't, for whatever reason, I'm not feeling 100% confident. Now, I don't really know if you should ever feel, 100% confident for any game, let alone a game like this. But I want this game to be good. I've long said, ultimately it's just going to have to come together, because I think individually we've heard good things, like how this game actually operates and the length of time, and then even this with planets. And, to say it takes 5 minutes is one thing, but honestly, that second quote where they say it needs to be fun, it needs to have different activities basically on the way, so you're never like, there's not going to be long spans of nothing, as you're going through. You go through 2 of those 5 minutes and there's absolutely nothing there. I mean, that's what we like to hear, where it's not just going to be barren and empty, but, ultimately it's just going to have to come together with the game. I try to, because sometimes I think other developers have either talked about this, or there's actually videos. I think I actually found a YouTube channel for the first time for me. There's a channel that walks, actually, not goes on like a motorized vehicle, or not like on a horse or anything like that, but they walk from one end of a map to another. And I mean, some of these maps can be 30, 35, 40 plus minutes long. Now that's if you're walking, right? Not if you're on like a vehicle that can make it faster. So, I would say 5 minutes, like thinking in my head, 5 minutes, that's really, and they even say, right, it doesn't sound like a lot, but once you commit, it's going to be a lot. I mean, you think about 5 minutes and it's like, yeah, 5 minutes does pass rather quickly. But if you, go into a video game and you get on a bike and you go from one end straight line to the other end, 5 minutes actually is a pretty good amount of time to just sit there. So I feel like that's kind of meaty without, like if you told me it was 10 to 15 minutes, okay, then we'd be really stretching it, right? So again, kind of hearing all the right things, just have to honestly put it all together. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turn on. I hope to see you all on the next one.